to me is Mr. Wrigley to do the introduction. He is one of the first ones who started up 10 years after.
Correct.
Can you tell us about the two new guys? There are two new guys who are replacing the old ones.
Yeah. When Leo Lyons and Joe Gooch decided to go and do their own thing, we needed. I said to Chick, "Are we going to carry on?" And he said, "Yeah, why not? You know, we have the name, so we'll do it." And the first call was Colin Hodgkinson, because
he's the bass player of.
Yeah.
But he's also famous one.
Collins worked with everybody. Yeah. And he was always going to be my first call. And luckily, I caught him at the right time. He was in between jobs. And he said, "Yeah, I'd love to give it a go." So we got together with another friend of ours, a guy called Gary. That Chick said, "Why don't we use Gary?" So I said, "Yeah, that's a good idea." But somehow he didn't quite have the confidence to do what we needed. He's a great player, great singer, but just didn't have that confidence to carry it forward. So we were then looking around and had a list of people as long as my arm, and I talked to a lot of them, and I found, sorry, excuse me, a lot of them said, "Oh, thank you, I'd love to do it, but I'm doing my own thing, and I'm maybe going to America, and I was talking to a PR man about another project. I said, "You don't happen to know a good young blues guitarist singer?" He said, "I know a singer." He said he'd been nominated for some blues awards in England. Bear in mind, this is nearly 5 years ago now. And so I said, "What is his name?" He said, "It's Marcus Bonfanti." He said, "But I don't know where to contact him. I just heard of him in these awards, you know." So I said, "Does he play guitar?" He said, "I don't know. I really don't know." So anyway, I went around the internet and couldn't find a website, but I did find him on Facebook. So I sent him a message and said, we need a new guitarist singer.
He's from the UK.
Yes. So he's from London, born in London.
Oh, London.
So I said, would you like to have a try with us? Yeah. And so a couple of days, he said, "Well, let me think about it." And he came back 2 days later. He said, "Yeah, I would like to try." So I went to see him in a venue in Lichfield in Staffordshire. He was doing the support for a band called The Straits, which is two guys from Dire Straits. And it was a very nice little 400-seat theatre. And I sat there and I met him beforehand for a drink actually. And he seemed a really nice guy. And then he came on stage, and the whole theatre just was. He hadn't done it. All he was doing was tuning his guitar and walking to the microphone. And the stage presence was just incredible.
Very important.
Yeah, and then when he got up to Mike, he said, "My name's Marcus Bonfanti." He said, "You probably never heard of me. I'm going to play you some of my songs, and I really hope you like them." And from that minute on, the audience was just eating out of his hand. It was incredible. I'd never seen anything like it.
So you could restart us 10 years after?
No. So then I talked to him afterwards, and I said, "Look, I know you can play acoustic guitar, but I said I don't know you can play electric guitar." And he said, "Yeah, well, sure I can." I said, "Yeah, but I need to know, because it's a major role, as you know, with Alvin Lee and so on." So he said, "Okay, what do you want?" I said, "Can you do me a demo of Love Like a Man and I'm Going Home?" And he said, "Yeah, okay." Well, 2 days later, I had the demos. It was unbelievable. And he rang me. He said, "What do you think?" I said, "I want to hire the whole band," because he got together with the drummer and a bass player, and it sounded fantastic. So I said, "Well, yeah, brilliant." And Chick was in Australia. I sent him the MP3s as well. He said, sign him straight away." Yeah. So when he came back, we went into rehearsal, and it worked a treat. It was fantastic. Colin was very happy with him. Well, we all were. It worked very well. But the funny thing was, we had another rehearsal, and then we had some gigs coming up. So I said to him, I phoned him, and I said, "When we do the next rehearsal, can you bring some stage clothes, because we'll get some photographs to him?" And he said to me later, he said, "You never told me I was in the band." He said, I figured I must have been, because you asked me to do the photographs." So I completely forgot to say, "Hey, you got the job." So that was the story.
Like you told, it's not 10 years ago, but it's almost 50 years ago.
It is 50 years.
It's
It was 50th
50th
anniversary last year for
You are
us.
doing the
And Woodstock
50,
is
yeah.
50 in 2019. Yeah.
You named Woodstock. Was that your biggest festival that you ever did?
No, it wasn't. I don't think it's been the biggest. I think we've done bigger ones, but it was the first major festival I think that a lot of people did. Although there was one a couple of months before, and a lot of the acts played there in Seattle, with about 50,000 people. But it was a 3-day festival with a very similar lineup. No, Woodstock was exactly what it said on the tin, as it were. You know, it was love and peace, and music. But after that, the following year, the Isle of Wight festival was not good.
White,
You know,
yeah, also a big one.
Yeah, but it was not a patch on Woodstock. It got very nasty, and the money men had moved in, you know, and everything changed. Woodstock was definitely a one-off.
Does 10 years after can live forever?
Well, as long as Chick and I live, I guess.
I know it's a difficult question, but there must become a time that you say, for me, it's enough, or we should
Well, I
stop
say
with it.
we discussed that, you know, 5 years ago, and Chick said, well, no, you know, we do all right, we make a good living out of it, we enjoy doing it, why don't we carry on doing it? So,
Yeah.
and I think that's, touch wood, that's still the same attitude.
Yeah.
You know.
If you could do over again, would you do it another way?
Different
or
way.
Different way, or things
No,
different?
not really. People say to me, do I have any regrets? And I only have one.
Yes.
And that's that when I first started to learn drums, or when I started playing drums, my mother knew a drummer in Mansfield where I was born, and we went to see him, and he said, go and learn piano for a year, then I'll teach you drums. And that's my big regret, that I didn't do
You
that.
didn't do that?
No.
No.
I'm still struggling to play piano now,
Yeah.
but I wish I'd done that. That's the only regret I have. You know, and I've had divorces and all sorts.
Yeah.
So,
Like you said, there is a new album
yeah.
because of the 50 years. The title is a rather strange title. The
Sting in the Tail, T-A-L-E, which is the story.
Yeah.
So,
But is there something behind?
yeah,
or
well, it came from
who
Chicks.
gave it the title? It was
Yeah, Chick saw an interview with Leo on the internet, and somebody said to him, "Why are you no longer with 10 years after?" And Leo said, "Well, the problem was, it became like, you know, there was me and Joe, and there was Chick and Rick, and it became like the tail was wagging the dog. In other words, he and Joe were the dog, and we were the tail, but we were calling the shots, which was not very pleasant, really. So." When it came to the album title, we were talking. I said, "Listen, guys, we were travelling somewhere. I said, I got to have a title because the agency wants to do pre-promotion, da 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 da, you know." And Colin straight away said, "Well, it's obvious, Sting in the Tail," but he was meaning T-A-I-L.
T-A-L-S.
So when Marcus said, "Oh, I'm not so sure. I don't know," and then he came back to me and he said, I phoned him. I said, "Look, we've got to make a decision today." He said, "All right, we'll go with Sting in the Tail." So when he wrote to me, he spelt it T-A-L-E because he wasn't aware of the other tail, as it were, you know. And so we thought, hey, that's a good idea, you know. And so the album actually is a lot of stories of all of us. You know, we wrote it all together. Some of it was of my current divorce. Some are from Colin about his father was a railwayman, worked on the railways. So Iron Horse is about the railways, you know.
So I read somewhere that most of the songs were from Fanti, but that's not true.
No.
All-
What we did was Marcus was
he was the producer, I think.
Marcus produced it. Yeah.
that's-
He spent a lot
maybe
of time.
they
He
mixed
spent a
that,
lot of time
yeah,
putting
yeah.
it together. Yeah, no. But Marcus really was like the hub. So I would go and write with Marcus. Colin would write. with him,
and then you
Chick
put your
because
ideas
Marcus
in.
is really good with the chords.
Yeah.
And also he's got to sing the songs, so he's got to put them in keys that he can handle. You know? And the lyrics have got to make sense, obviously, otherwise he's not going to be comfortable singing them. And but it was a fantastic experience. We really enjoyed it. And then what we did was once we had the 10, well, we had about 14 songs actually. We got together at Marcus had a little studio in London, and we rehearsed them and changed them around, and you know. And I said at the beginning, I said, how are we going to do this? We're going to split this. And Marcus said, no, we'll do it 4 ways because we're all going to be involved in putting it together.
Was the
And
album
it works really well. That way.
was the album a different one when you compare it with other albums?
What we tried to do with this one, we'd put a live album out before,
Yeah,
just to
before,
let people know that
Yeah,
Colin
yeah.
and Marcus were in the band, really. This album was an attempt to write radio-friendly songs.
Yeah.
You know, and they're much, much shorter than most 10 years after material. And it worked, but radio doesn't want to know when you get to our age. You know, not major radio, you know, because they're all into, you know.
You're a long time in business, in the music business. Do you have also favorite bands or performers that you
Oh God.
like a little bit more than others?
Well, I mean, my influences come
Yeah.
from the jazz era, you know, so like
Yeah.
Buddy Rich, Art Blakey,
Yeah,
Joe
yeah.
Morello, all those people. But no, I mean, I really like Nickelback. I went to see them.
Nickelback.
Yeah, they're great, and their drummer is superb. I'm trying to think of some other bands I've seen recently.
Young bands, young.
Yeah,
performers.
I was listening to a couple of. I can't remember the names. I'm sorry,
Yeah, no
but yes,
problem.
I do.
When you remember them, just
And also my kids, my daughter's 27 now, my son's 24, and I hear what they hear as well.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing. They both have very eclectic tastes, which is great.
do you still have open items on your to-do list, on your
Oh, yeah.
on your bucket list? Like I call it always.
Yeah, bucket list. Yeah.
Things that you surely once want to do.
Well, I've just moved house, and opposite me is a well, they're jokingly called mountains, but it's a hill, a big hill.
Yeah.
I'm going to climb that. That's one thing I have to do. It's not. You don't need crampons and all that.
No,
stuff.
but
You
it's-
can
it's-
walk
it's-
up it,
it's-
but
you can
it's
walk it.
something that's there to be done. You know, so that has to be done. I'm learning. As I said to you, I'm studying for doing my grade 1 jazz piano. Grade 1. Grade 2. No, I'm doing grade 2. And I'm also learning guitar as well.
So the piano, that's
No, I'm doing piano and
Piano,
guitar.
guitar?
Yeah. And it's to keep the fingers going and to keep the brain going, you know.
Mr. Hodgkinson.
Mr. Hodgkinson, how are you? Do you want to join in?
Have one?
He'll be back in a minute.
He's
He's going for a cigarette.
I had a few questions for the newcomers, but
Yeah, sure.
he's one of them.
He'll answer, I'm sure.
The show tonight. What are you going to play? I surely old 10 years after songs.
We do a mixture. There's at the moment we did have more, but we've had, because Chick's not doing well, we've had to change things. But we have 2 songs from the new album, from Sting in the Tail. We do a 3-song semi-acoustic set in the middle, and that we've recorded that, and that we've got a new album coming out in January, I think it's going to be, which will have all of that on it, and it'll be different live stuff to the previous live album. We do the classics. Do Hear
Yeah,
Me
the
Calling,
songs
Good
that
Morning
you
Little Schoolgirl,
must
Love Like a Man,
Like a Man.
I'm Going Home. Yeah, you know. But yeah, there's some other stuff from the old catalogue that we've thrown in there.
Great.
You know, so I think it works well. We know that, and it's a good mix of stuff of over the years. You know.
So because of the question of the newcomers, I have to wait for Mr. Hodgkinson.
Yeah.
But I can still ask you my last question.
Oh, okay.
How do you want to be remembered as 10 years after? What do people have to know about later on? What is important for you?
A good band made of musicians who are
From the 60s.
masters of their instruments. Yeah.
Who are on Woodstock and on the Isle of Wight?
Not really. No, I just to be remembered as good musicians. You know, and playing music that people enjoy to hear.
Okay. Anyway, these were my questions. I don't know if we have to wait for Mrs. Hodgkinson.
I'll tell him. And Marcus will be down.